All right, folks. QA panel, last panel of the evening. Again, a reminder, next stop would be dinner at County Line Barbecue or on your own. And then the hospitality room at the Spring Hill will open. I just got a text back. They have got the alcohol you requested and some more. And they will be there probably about 6 p.m. To 11, and then tomorrow again as well. And then again, the County Line Barbecue, 5 p.m.-ish, or after this. 7 p.m. Baronsman at the Curtin Theater. If you're doing that event, if you have questions about that, ask me or Winfield. And then again, there's the 9:30 cruise. If you're doing that, you probably already know about it. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce the QA team. I have Romero, a.k.a. the Attenwood. I have Sarah Dworken, a.k.a. Serafina. And I have Andrea Vinyard, a.k.a. Lexie. So, give it up for the QA team, and here we go.
Get comfortable.
Okay, so you just, I'm sorry, who's it for you?
My name is Brickbat.
That's Brickbat. Brickbat just introduced us. Thank you, Brickbat. So, as you know, we are the QA team, and our panel is going to be kind of like half panel, half discussion, and a little bit of a workshop. So, I know it's the end of the day, and I know you all are excited to go to dinner in about 45 minutes, but bear with us. It's going to be fun. We're going to look at some weird, freaky things in our game that often happen and talk about what we do. So I am primarily the customer support person, but I also do QA. Whenever there's a new house or a new deco or new equipment in the game, that's usually me testing it. And
Hi. Hello. So I'm the QA lead, and most of my job, what I do in the role is whenever bugs go in and they need reproduction, I spend a lot of my time looking for reproduction cases. When they come down, developers think that they're fixed. Are they really? That's my job. I get to go in, decide, did they actually know what the bug was that was first reported? If they didn't, send it back to them. No. This is what it really is. Get them a clear case, and oftentimes when tasks come down, we're the first line of defense before it comes out to y'all to end up finding what bugs we do end up missing. So I'll pass it now to Andrea.
Thank you. Hi, as stated, I am Andrea. I'm also known as Lexie on the boards. If you guys submit anything on the bug forums, you've probably heard from me. And if I'm not able to repro or if I need more information, I'm constantly bothering you guys. I'm so sorry. But I really do appreciate you guys and the feedback that you guys give us, and we're able to get this stuff fixed. So again, thank you so much. And thank you for coming out today.
Yeah, so something that I first realized when stepping into this room is just how incredibly large it is and how amazing it is that it could fit the entirety of the QA department at this table. In fact, you are looking at all of us. We are the QA department. And I guess the question that comes up is, for a game of this scope, how do we get it done? How do we find all the bugs? And really, how we can support having a team of this size is, first and foremost, our community. How many of you have written up a bug and submitted it on our bug forum? Looks like most of you. Thank you. Hopefully they're good bugs. We'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, so every release, we are completely blown away by the number of bugs that y'all write up for us, things that we had never even thought of finding when we were doing QA testing. Ooh. Awesome. And so internally, what we do, we just kind of broke it down a little. Is it cutting out still? Let me try the green one. Maybe not. So our roles on like a calm day, we tend to get split up into 3 different areas. My area being the one where we're regressing individual tasks and bugs that go into our pipeline. Sarah's doing customer support and account services, jumps into QA. Andrea's on the forums. That's sort of how we split our roles on really calm days. But throughout the release, whenever there's fires that come out, whenever there's certain events that happen in our release cycle, say a QA build drops or release happens on a Thursday, we tend to filter ourselves and our attention into sort of critical areas. So when those areas drop, we know, hey, we have players looking at content for the first time, so we jump in and we look at the forums and we find as much stuff from the forums as we can, or right after a release happens, or actually I think it's a few days before a release occurs, and all of our content is in lockdown and our developers are finally looking at bugs. We have hundreds of bugs coming down our pipeline every day, so we spend, yeah.
And how often does a release happen?
Every single month.
And is it on Tuesdays or Wednesdays or?
Thursdays, the last Thursday of every month.
Thursday.
Yes.
Thursday.
So lockdown happens the week right before that, on that Thursday night. So Friday into the next week, leading up to Thursday, we are focusing almost entirely on the regression of individual bugs. We're getting hundreds of bugs coming at us every single day, needing to like go through them and make sure that they're looking good, that they are all taken care of, and then finally get some sleep once Thursday happens. It's pretty pleasant. But yeah, so we wear multiple hats. We're kind of cross-functional, and we support each other depending on how where we are in the release cycle. And I guess one of the questions that we have to ask is what kind of difficulties do we end up facing as a team? So Sarah, like when working with account services and customer support, what kind of difficulties do you face?
Okay, so maybe I should talk about like what.
So you brought up an incredible point, is like you are our ad hoc testers, you are our play testers, which is where like the community bug reports are so incredibly important. In release 45, there were 638 unique bugs reported on the forums, with over 2,000 messages within that for us to look at, but primarily Andrea.
Yeah. And by the way, what was it, 600?
638.
638, that is like better than good for a professional QA tester team.
Yeah.
So that's like incredible that you guys report that many bugs.
And the bulk of that number happens predictably a week within a release. So as soon as new content comes out, and that first weekend comes up, everyone's jumping in, finding the bugs, and a lot of them are unique. A few of them are dupes. Maybe a little bit more than a few are dupes.
Right. Some bugs are certainly bigger than other bugs. And I do know one thing that I sometimes come across is when someone has a bug that affects them, and we haven't fixed it yet. And I don't want people to get the impression or think that we do not care or we're not working on it. It's just some bugs just take more time and work and effort to get fixed than other bugs. And sometimes it comes down to just that one developer on the team who knows that section of the system really well. And there may be a lot of other things going on at the same time. So I do want the word to get out there that just because you've submitted a bug and it hasn't been fixed in the next release, we still have that bug open. And if you guys ever have any questions on any JIRA tickets that have been created previously, go ahead and send me a private message. I will be very open about the status and where we're at. So just wanted to let you guys know about that.
To kind of add on to that, some of my favorite bugs, or at least my favorite ones to go after, are the ones that are incredibly hard to reproduce, and they're often the ones that get reported release after release after release. I think one that comes to mind is there was this bug where somehow by wandering into water and then wandering back out of water, your combat bar would just be completely non-functional, and no one knew why. No, like they just like 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, now it's functional again, but for like a period of time, you just couldn't do anything. And it took us longer than I'm happy to admit to figure out what the cause of that was, and it was actually through the committed effort. I think I went into the forums one day, and it was after like maybe 3 releases of this bug being around, where I'm just like, everyone, look, we know, we are aware of this bug, we're having a heck of a hard time finding it internally, so let's make a game of this. Whoever finds this bug, whoever finds this terrible, terrible bug that we want to get rid of, we want to kill, we want to smite, we will give a title in the forums and like recognize you, like you did this. And I believe it was one of the members, I think it was actually Mischievous Dragon, who discovered what the cause of it was, and it was something crazy, like you would go into the water, zoom in the camera completely, and step out of the water, and by having zoomed in the camera, suddenly the hotbar wouldn't work until it hit another plane surface, and they got the title Riparian Reaper. And those are like the really cool ones, because I get a lot of joy out of finding a repro case for something that's really hard to find, and even more joy when it's something that comes from the community, where you have this co-development spirit going on, where we can remain as transparent as possible.
Yeah, these bugs bother us too. I mean, we play the game as well. I have a level 97 adventure level character, so I'm in the game all the time. So when you guys are frustrated and you guys don't think we feel it, we do. We do.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of bug. So that's what we call.
Do I report this?
You,
Yes.
I'm gonna wait a few days.
So that's an exploit.
oh yeah.
So if something's
Test a few times to make sure.
And
that's rare. If something happens and it seems like it's too good to be true, like maybe you complete a quest and you get like 1,000,000 XP. Yeah, maybe that's too good to be true and you should report it. Now, instead of reporting it in the forums, you should send a support ticket to support@portalaran.com, and I will say thank you, thank you, thank you, and we'll have somebody fix it right away. And depending on how big it is, you might get a little something else, like more credit or something. So that's some incentive to report exploits.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we don't really tolerate exploits, and we kind of know if you're doing it too many times.
we're always watching.
You're not just testing it, so a dozen times maybe you're just testing it. But if you do it, if you do it.
What's the threshold?
That's a good question. let's say over a dozen times. Don't
Yeah,
put
we
me
find
on.
out eventually anyway, so remember that.
What was that?
I should assume it's always any
It is until it isn't. So, as like the forums, we've brought it up, it's this gigantic beast. How does one person, how does occasionally two people handle it all? And we've done some really cool things to try and streamline this process, add some oil to the wheels so that we can get through it faster. We recently added the Bug Brigade, which is a very small team of people. It's grown, it shrunk over time, but these are people that we've brought in that we trust as community members to go into the forums and help triage and bring to our attention the worst issues possible. Because sometimes, like right after release, we come in the morning and there's several hundred new bug reports right after a release, and it's up to us to be like, okay, we obviously want to look at the critical section, but after that, it's anyone's guess where the next big breaker is in there, especially in the world building section, which can grow massively between like where is the I can't, like this scene has no ground amongst like the dozens of, hey, there's a piece of grass coming up through a rock. So they help us out a lot with that. We've also added better feedback in the bug forums, both as title. You may have seen when going through things that we respond to or have taken a look at, we had title messages, whether it's known, needs repro, it's working as expected, needs information. And expected is kind of this weird wishy-washy area because it doesn't mean it's by design. It just means we did something, and as a consequence, this thing is also happening. So it's happening as expected, but we may want to review it in case it's something that's actually breaking the game that we don't want to happen. But also including, we add feedback into the bugs themselves. So we try our best whenever we look at a bug and submit it or mark it as a dupe to go in and find what the actual bug ID number is so it can be referenced in the future. So if you find a bug and it's still happening a release later, you can point back and it's like, hey, what happened to bug ID 12345? And we can plug in and say, oh, they said it was by design. Maybe we should look at this a little bit more if it's still causing problems.
That's a really good point because sometimes a developer will resolve a bug as by design or maybe cannot reproduce or something like that. And when they do that, that goes to us, and we are eventually the person who can say, hey, you know what, it might be by design, but there's something not right about this. Like maybe it's counterintuitive, or it doesn't look right, or it's awkward, or something like that. So you can appeal to us to some extent, but saying something is by design or expected is not the final say on something.
Yeah, it's just by design at this moment.
Yeah, so remember, we're still in development, so there's some stuff, like, here's a great example. On Play Your Own Towns, you might still have grass or trees going through certain decos. That has been by design for a long time, but that's going to change. It will be not by design pretty soon. We're going to have some kind of lawnmower system.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we like it this way.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we like it. It means that right now this is how it's working, but we might intend to fix it or modify it in some way.
And it looks like I think the last and most important thing that helps us manage the community forums and the bugs that we get in is making sure people are aware of how to write these bug reports in ways that we can take that information as quickly as possible, send it up into our task list, and send it off to the devs with as little work on our part or the devs' part in interpreting it as much as possible, which I guess segues us into the next part of our section, which is what do bad bugs look like?
This is a little hard to see, but this is not a real player. This is me who wrote this.
Mr. Jingles?
Mr. Jingles, I'm Mr. Jingles. I'll read it. I can't get in my house. It's broken. I can't get in. Please fix it. So, yeah. And can I have a cheeseburger? Is also what it said. It's pretty obvious why this is not a helpful bug for us. We have hundreds of houses in our game. We have hundreds of scenes in our So finding a broken house is impossible. And also, it doesn't tell us, what does that mean, I can't get in? Is there, like, you crash when you go in? Or there's some invisible collision or something like that? Like, how can't you get in? So this is a pretty obvious example of a not good bug.
And I guess partially inspiration for the title of our panel, because this game is broken is actually a bug report that we've gotten before. You know, helps us a lot.
It's more an editorial, I think.
So I've actually read some on the forums that they might say that, and then but there's another sentence on there like, if I'm not in an hour, you will never see me again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't be threatened.
Ultimatums always work. So, in contrast to Sarah's bug, this is my bug example, and you might see what the problem is. Here, I'll read it to you. Hail and well met. Against my usual nature to avoid direct confrontation or seeming complaining by submission of minor bugs, I now stand before you today to report a most heinous error in your game that has caused significant harm not only upon my person and both time wasted and reputation as a guild leader, but also upon the community, and without proper proclamation of developer knowledge of this bug, nor any apparent desire on the part of your team to fix the issue. Oh.
Sound like Scotty Jones.
So, like, we are living in a fantasy sandbox RPG, and it's a text. There's a lot of text in our game, but yeah, this is a lot of text.
And so, not even the title, a heinous bug. We don't know what it is. So knowing that, we get the red alarms, like, oh no, what is this? Is this an exploit? Is this something terrible? And it's almost holding us hostage to have to read the entire thing. And our time is incredibly precious. We have very little time that we can commit to any issue. And it just happens to be that in this example, I did pick a bug recently that was a very bad bug, which has to do with performance being lost rapidly amongst parties. But can you guess, where in this, just from a glance, where any of the descriptive text is to figure out what the problem is as quickly as possible? And no, not even there. It's just talking about how if we don't fix it, it will hemorrhage dedicated players. It's buried in the middle, and even then, they describe the issue, but with not enough information to help us go in and figure out what it is. Maybe, we could respond to them, and it gets to this point where we have to go and spend time writing up needs information, listing out kind of what the proper method is, what information we need to be able to try and track this better. Do we need to go into game with this person and try and replicate what this problem was with them?
Yeah, there are no steps here. This is it's really important for us to see a step 1, step 2, step 3, especially for something that's a little more complex. There's also, what's at the very bottom, they're tagging basically a whole development team. So, who has been to our office?
Yeah.
Woo!
Almost everyone. Is it a big office? No. So, if you tag one of us, that's fine. You can tag one of us. And we can always go down the hall and talk to one of the other developers and say, hey, I don't know if this is by design or is this supposed to work like this? This is one of the great things about our team is that we're all very close and we all get along, and none of the devs are annoyed when QA comes and asks questions, except for Matt.
Dang it, Matt.
He's the hardest person to annoy. But if we feel oh man, this might require some kind of discussion, we'll do the tagging of one of the devs. But there are some devs that are barely in the forums, so tagging them doesn't really make sense. Tagging Richard, tagging Lord British
Happens way too often.
But it just ends up kind of being a little bit spammy for him. So you can tag us. Tag us all you want. Serafina, the Attenwood, Lexie will respond, but everybody else maybe not so much. The next one?
Yeah, let's do the next one.
If they give you a hard time, just put them in TBT for about a week.
Actually drag people to the top of a tower, I think, the Tower of the Shuttered Eye. I just like drag them to the top of that. It's like, you're going to help me repro this bug right now.
So what are all three of these reports missing? There's one thing in common they all do not have. Exactly, /bug. /bug is our friend because it does have a lot of this stuff in there that we do need. Even if you don't think we may need it, just go ahead and put it in there because sometimes when you guys see something, it may be one little trigger that sets it off, and it's not easy for us to see as well. It also includes the build number. That is huge, because if we can't repro it on the build we're working on dev, we don't want to spend a lot of developer time trying to find something that we probably accidentally already fixed. So please use the /bug report. It's something I will always preach. If you guys use it, I will love you forever. So this particular post right here, first of all, I love this picture. It is Richard wearing some kind of construction hat. Yes. Oh, this is so hard for me to read. There's an NPC near the docks in Central Brit who keeps pathing funny. It's like he's going around in circles a lot and just keeps acting weird. I saw him walk off the dock and into the water where he just jumped over and over again like he was popping out of a pot of boiling water. Conversation seems to be busted too. I do know. Anyway, you guys are great. Keep up the good work. And by the way, if you guys say stuff like this, we really do like it. It does not take much. It does not take much to make me happy. So I love that part there. Keep doing that part. So yes, and if this person here had used /bug, it would give out some of the fields that we could use in order to really figure out what's going on. For example, what build number, where it is. So when he uses that /bug at that location, we can go exactly to where that person was in game very, very quickly, which allows us to move between bug reports even quicker. When we can do that, we can figure out what's going on, because it's possible that the NPC was already fixed, or it could be one of those crazy weird one-offs. I mean, sometimes I've seen weird things in games and in our game, and no one else has seen it. And I only see it once. I've never seen it again. And just doing a client restart fixed it. There we go. So, yeah, thank you so much.
So we're going to do a little group activity now. Yeah, we'll do it kind of quickly. So we're going to show you some bugs, and I want you to just like raise your hand and tell me what the bug is and what information might be important in that bug. So we'll start with number 1. If you need to get closer. Looks fine? What's up with the face? Yeah, the resolution's low. It's glowing, right. Do our faces just randomly glow?
Occasionally.
No. What do you think is happening? So, has anybody ever used Ignite Weapon? Yeah. So it's igniting weapon without any flames. So the bug could either be that Ignite Weapon is broken, or does anybody know what weapon that is?
It's that
Cobalt
chainsword.
chainsword, right. So maybe the Cobalt chainsword, for some reason, is giving the VFX of Ignite Weapon, and it should. So that's a bug, right? What about number 2?
No, those are the right clothes.
Yeah. So what information is important there? location doesn't really help us.
What dress? What, clothing?
Right, what clothing and maybe one more thing? Male or female, right, yeah. What's going on with number 3?
New get-go items.
Yeah, that's good. What, does anybody know what Z-fighting is? Can you explain?
It's where you've got things that are about at the same position.
Yeah.
And the game engine is getting confused every time it
Yeah.
finds a frame. It chooses a different one to be on top. So there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's flickering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody know what information might be important for this one?
Location, the object types.
Screenshot.
It could be the house. Screenshot is really important. That's another one that we didn't mention, that screenshots are so very helpful. And I know our forums don't really make it easy. You can't upload directly to a post, but use Imager and all that, photo bucket, whatever, to show it to us. The names of the paintings are also really important. Does anybody know? These are kind of new paintings. What do you see in the paintings? Or British.
To comment on the importance of images, also video. Depending on how hard something is to reproduce, like video has saved our lives, but it's also sort of a double-edged sword because we've gotten people who are like, here's my video, it'll show the bug clearly, and it'll be a 2-hour Twitch stream with no details about like where in the stream it was. So we've done digging before. We've watched.
And don't get us wrong, we love your Twitch streams, but we don't have 2 hours. Okay, so these were not too bad. Let's get a little bit more difficult. What's going on in number 4?
It's like an NPCs in the blood.
Yeah. So what it's really hard to see. What information is important here? Location. Yeah. Hmm? No, it for some reason not. Wait. Can I?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So NPCs shouldn't be wandering into things like that. All right, number 5 is super challenging. At least I think it is. Can anybody see the name of the scene? Living. Interesting.
It may not necessarily be what's there, but what's not there.
The OG, the real guy.
Yeah, that's the sky. Something about the weather. The clouds. Yeah, so this is something that you kind of have to know that Flood Bay always has like volcanic kind of clouds over it. So there was a brief period of time when it was clear skies, and it's also like midday, and you can see the stars. So there's something going on with weather there. So that one's a little tricky, but I think you guys got it pretty well. All right, so those are some kind of typical bugs that we might see. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions?
Yeah, if you have any questions, yeah.
Do you guys get value out of, the Me Too posts? Like, if somebody's already submitted the bug for me to come in and say, I'm also getting this bug here, or is it just
I usually put likes on it. So I post that I see when it's like that.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
So-
I'll even say, is anyone else seeing this? Because sometimes I can't tell, maybe it's isolated to a certain operating system, or if it's something everyone's seeing, if it's something I can't get.
A lot of times I go to Twitter to see the bug.
Yeah. If you do
So-
the same thread, that's awesome, but
And-
when there's all these
I
new
applied
threads.
to somebody that said that, and what I've also done is before the reward
nice.
That's really
Yeah,
helpful.
it
If
really
you
is.
see there's some information missing, put it in. Be like, oh yeah, and it was here, or here's a screenshot or something like that.
To add on, so whenever like a release happens and we're looking to try and triage like what's the most important issue on that next day, if we're going through like a page of bugs and we don't like want to go into like each one just yet, if we see one bug has 10 responses on it, that is a clear indicator. It's like maybe we should look at this one.
But don't argue.
Oh no.
So the bug section of the forums is not the same as the feedback or the wish list section. It's, you come in, you report, and maybe if you have more information, add more information, but there's no discussion in there. And, I mean, we're not gonna like delete your comment unless it's counterproductive, but just keep it kind of clean, because like Rhys said, we get over 600 bugs a release, and going through like, okay, this person's like commenting on why they're upset about PvP, and then blah, 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 blah. Oh, here's the additional information that we needed for the bug.
And remember, everyone in our company has different roles. So it's not that we don't care about design changes or making the game better or improving quality of life. It's just we have different sections for different groups. And because our group is so small, we really do try to just focus on the bugs and get those fixed.